All right, I'm live from the house now. You see me? Can you hear me? All right, bro. Thanks. Talk to you in a little bit. Okay. We had a little bit of a technical delay this morning, but that was also because I don't know, man. Starlink, I got the Starlink and try to do the show from it. And for some reason, it just gives me the last two times I'll have it loaded and then it just completely kicks it off. And then it completely screws my live stream. So I've got to figure out how to fix that. So anybody that's listening to this, if you've got some ideas, shoot them in the comments, man. Let me know. Let me know. You guys are going to flip out when we get through our Tactical Tuesday today. You can tell it's all green. Tactical Tuesday. But before we jump in, I know we're 5 minutes late, but that was not my fault. I've been live 2 minutes before, like I always am. But look, guys, let's get started, shall we? Good morning, business builders, and welcome to Business for Breakfast, where business is the most important meal of the day. I'm your host, Aaron Novinger, the Venti Business Guy, otherwise known as VBG. Our goal in this show is to make you 1% smarter today by unpacking business news over the last 24 hours, sprinkle with tips and tricks to help you mind your own business. Now, I know you're not here for me. You never are. You guys are always here for the morning mark. But why is that? It's the most important thing you do for the day. Here's the best part. There's no props required, no drinks, no gear. It's you and a functioning brain. We'll work with what we've got. Wherever you are, desk, truck, kitchen, job site, standing or sitting, it don't matter. You pick one thing you will finish today. Not a list, not 10, not three, just one. Now, mark it mentally and write it down. That is a line in the sand. That's the thing the day doesn't get to erase. That is the pause that sharpens the edge. It is the moment that turns noise into signal. It's the tiny act that makes business owners dangerous in a good way. That, my friends, is your morning mark. All right. Are you feeling it already, bro? We just came off a long weekend. I know you guys are feeling it. All right, you business builders, you drive, I dive, buckle up, buttercup, and let's roll in today's show. Oh my gosh. Okay, first of all, how in the rizzle was y'all's Memorial Day weekend? I got to be honest, amazing. And I just had this crazy thought. You know what? I'm completely changing gears today on Tactical Tuesday. I had an entire business built for you, but I'm going to switch gears and do the end of day EOD RMR. Oh my word. You guys are going to freak out with today's show. I've got some insane stuff to carry and to share with you guys today. But before we do, you guys know that in 6 days from today, I leave for the third annual Pedaling Against Ponzi's bike ride. As many of you guys know, Rebecca and I started this little heart project a few years ago with what we do with accounting. We've sat across the table from a handful of victims, affected families of financial crimes and Ponzi schemes, and it is one of the worst crimes I've ever seen, and it haunts you forever. And so I kind of wanted to do something about it. And so every year, I ride my bicycle from Dallas, Texas to Washington, D.C., 6 weeks to do it. And it's to raise a lot of awareness for victims of these crimes. In my opinion, I have never seen a crime that has more silent victims, because the victims are typically our parents and our grandparents, and they're so embarrassed and ashamed, they don't tell anybody. And so that's why for me, look, I do it and I feel like I get to do this. But I thought it'd be cool to kind of share with you guys like the shirts for this year. Now, just so you guys know, here's the shirts for last year. Year two. Okay, same front. And every year we sponsor a Ponzi. Next year I'll have a different Ponzi scheme that we'll be sponsoring. But second annual, here's last year's shirts. Okay, you got it, right? Okay. Now, this year's stuff, how about I just do like the green for today. Each day, check it, check it, check it. These are brand spanking new, bro. Look at this. Oh my gosh, dude. Each day, it's the like themed color. Okay. So this is obviously tactical green or army green. Okay. Back. Third annual charity bike ride. What? What? All the same color. Oh my gosh. I know, right? I got all that stuff picked up today. I get to pick up the bike decal. So we use a fathead sticker on the bike, and it goes the entire length of the bike. So that when people are driving by, they can take a picture of it. It's got a big QR code, and it takes them to the website ponziarelief.org. So if you guys want to see what it is that we do and how we do what we do, go to ponziarelief.org, and you'll be able to pretty easily kind of scope out. I got a lot. I'll be updating the verbiage of the website this week before I head out. Oh my gosh, dude. The couple weeks before I leave, I need about 40 hours in a day with no sleep to get everything done. That's how I feel. But you guys know I've got big projects that I'm trying to wrap up this week. I'm trying to finish up all my classes to get my business degree. I'm trying to finish up the last couple of chapters for my book, the Mom and Pop Venti Shop Survival Guide, how to keep the 7 plate spinning. And I got to basically do training this week. And my sessions are 4 3-hour cardio sessions this week to make sure that I'm conditioned going into next week. Because I bike every day 3 to 5 hours, and so, but I've got a bike in the garage that's on a trainer with some resistance. So when I bike for 3 hours, my feet don't stop. And you guys know when you typically bike on a road, you've got some terrain differences. So half the time, or 3/4 of the time, you're biking. The other, 1/4 of the time, you're coasting. Not here. It has to be time under tension. So this week is going to be a zoo of a week for sure. But you guys will be Justin will be going with me this year. He'll be taking the van, the Navigator. I tell everybody whenever I do this bike ride, the hardest job, the person that has the hardest job up until the day of the event is me. Everything about this event, I have to engineer, I have to orchestrate, I have to facilitate, I have to execute on. It's purely on my shoulders. But once I start the ride, then my job goes easy, and then I just get to be the one that pedals. While the navigator who drives the van, that's when the hardest job ever switches, and they have the hardest job. And so last year, the last 2 years, Rebecca was the driver of the van, the navigator. And the way this kind of works is I'll kind of lay this out for you guys. So you kind of, and by the way, you're going to see where Justin and I are going to do the show every day. And I've got such a great setup. I can't even wait for you guys to see this. And Justin's got some amazing content ideas for you guys. Dude, it's going to be mind bending. Putting us two together is going to be like colliding like electrons, and like we're going to open up different like portals because, bro, he's just like 20 years younger than me. So same dude, like just my younger doppelganger self with way more facial hair, but our brains are crazy ADD, and all we do is think and create. And he loves marketing like I love marketing, and you don't even know what's going to come out of this. But every day we'll be in a new town because every day I bike 3 to 5 hours. I don't really keep track of the miles. I do it based on how I feel. And so this week will be, you guys will see, I'll be doing the show here, home base. And then Monday, my goal is that we do Monday show in office, and then we literally head to the launch spot, and then we launch Monday. And so by Tuesday morning, you should start seeing some nature behind us. So my goal is to have like that sign, okay, and a couple of two, literally three things here that kind of resemble the show at home base that we can take on the road. And but man, we literally we'll leave, and I'll kind of tell you how it kind of navigates. We get up in the morning, and my normal time it's kind of the same. I normally get up between 3 and 4 a.m., no alarm every day. That is not the case when I ride. When I ride, my body needs way more sleep and way more food. So I have to basically, I'll be getting up probably 5:30 ish to 6 o'clock. And that gives me time to set up, get everything ready for the show, and then do the show live with you guys every day at 7. We'll wrap up the show around 8, and then we'll head over to, once we do that, then we kind of pack up, and then I load up, and then Justin will get me to the launch spot where I am biking, in my area. the way we decide the route, just so you guys know, I hit kind of the same cities along the route, and just because of, I don't know, I'm sort of a lazy dude, and so I know it doesn't seem like everybody's like, "You're not lazy." I'm like, "No, you don't understand." I'm just very self-aware, and I know how to motivate myself to do things I don't wanna do. But trust me, I'm not a busybody. My favorite thing to do when I'm not doing anything is sitting, not moving. I love sitting and not moving. It's my favorite thing to do. But what we'll do is we'll hit the road, and when I do my route, I typically go from Dallas, and then we go. Normally, like if I go straight through to like DC, but I have to do like right dead center through the Ozarks, and I already have to go to the Appalachians, and so I try to avoid the Ozarks as much as possible. Plus, I want more eyeballs, and so what I'll do is because I hit all the big cities along the way. So Oklahoma City, Kansas City, right, or Wichita, then Kansas City, then St. Louis, and I go up north to Indianapolis. And Indy's a big city for me because the Ponzi scheme that we've sponsored the last few years, that we meaning sponsored to bring awareness to, was based out of Indianapolis. And so we'll be able to do that. And then I go down. If I had the time, and I don't think I'm going to have to, I did the first year, but the next couple years, I don't think I have the time to go to Chicago. If I do, I'll go to Chicago first, then Indianapolis, then hit the three big cities in Ohio. Then I pick up Pittsburgh, and then I cruise into DC. If I have time, well, Baltimore, because I know it sounds weird, but Baltimore and DC are so unbelievably close that it would be like probably a 2-day delay if I go to Baltimore. So, but normally Rebecca's the one that's the navigator. So we're kind of talking about what it looks like. I've got the hardest job until the day we launch, and then I just bike, and then I'm able to just kind of chill. Where the navigator driving the van, Rebecca, the first couple of years, literally had to get in, and what she would do is first you're the one driving, and the thing is with me, it's not like you can just drive up 50 miles and just park and wait on me to catch up to you. That's not how this works. It can't work like that because my bike breaks down. I get pulled over by police. I mean, there's a lot of rando things that can happen. I don't know. I Not that I take a wrong turn because I just follow my Google Maps, but there's a lot of variables that can happen on this ride, and so the navigator is typically 10 miles away from me, either behind me or in front of me, and we typically stay 10-ish miles around each other. So I usually leave in the morning, and then the navigator stays in the van, does some work, and then I don't know, 30 minutes later they'll go and they'll pass me. Okay. And then they'll drive up about 10 miles past me. And then they park, they're hanging out, they're doing work. Well, normally, Rebecca also had to do all of the filming for all of our social media stuff, all the editing, all the uploading, all that stuff. She had to do all of that, plus drive the van, plus help me out whenever I need assistance. If there's something in the van that I need that I don't have on the bike or whatever it is, plus, she basically is the eyes and the ears for everybody else. So whenever we catch each other and we pass, like we'll usually just maybe talk for 30 seconds to a minute. I'll pull up next to her, and my bike is like literally 2 feet off the ground. And I'm like, "Hey," and she's in the big, like, ProMaster van. I'm like, "Hey, what's going on?" And she's like, "Oh, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, she goes, "Okay, here's what you need to know." Great. And then we basically debrief, and then I'm back on the road. And then every hour on the hour, I stop and fuel. And again, Rebecca and I bootstrap this whole thing. I have no sponsors. The only sponsors I have are just good friends of mine that own businesses that just believe in the vision and they want to give support. But nobody really helps us with this. We bootstrap every piece of this. But the thing about it is on fueling, and I figured this out year one accidentally, and it has done me so insanely well that I don't want to deviate from what works really well. Because one of my secrets why I don't really get tired on the road is because I fuel every hour. So every hour on the hour, I have an alarm set to fuel. And so when I stop to fuel, I have three things. One, a little pack of peanut butter crackers, and so what I have right now is like the Ritz peanut butter crackers. Then I have a Cliff Bar, and then I have those pickle popsicles, the ones you put in the freezer. But like like those kids popsicles that are all different colors, and you cut the top off and you squeeze it up. Well, I have those, but they're full of pickle juice. But the thing is I don't put those in the freezer. Those are just sitting out, and they're just pickle juice. Pickle juice has more electrolytes than anything on planet Earth, man. And so, and then I've got a big Camel bag that's probably a liter of water, and in there, I've got my, high quality, Baja Gold, sea salt, and then I'll have creatine in there. And so I've been creatine loading the last 3 months. I start off at 20 grams a day, and then baseline I maintain at 10 grams a day. So 5 in the morning, then 5 in the afternoon. And so I'll put it in my water. So that way I've got constant fuel, like absorption. I'm retaining plenty of water. That's the thing about this trip. You're like, oh my God, you should have to lose a lot of weight. No, you don't lose a lot of weight. As a matter of fact, I will not be able to get my wedding ring off until probably a month after I get back because I'm so swollen of all the sodium. But that's what basically gives me electrolytes that I need to be able to do this. I'm a little nervous about doing this ride right now because we're catching the very beginning of summer, and luckily I'm going north. And so as I go north, the temperatures tend to drop a little bit. And luckily I'm in my fully enclosed Velomobile bicycle. It looks like a little mini blue Batmobile. And it's people are like, it looks like a bobsled. So it looks like a fully enclosed bobsled that's got lights and turn signals. And so it's like a blinking bobsled. And so I've got the bike, which does a really good job of insulating me from the temperatures of the road and everything because it's all made out of carbon fiber. And so the bike itself, I mean, the pavement could be 135 degrees, where just standing on it for too long and it could start, making the leather in your shoe soft. But I don't ever feel any of that. I feel like I'm in, a shade under like a big shaded tree when I'm in the bike. And then because of the way it ventilates as I'm driving, I get plenty of air within the bike. And I keep like, handheld fans in there too. So when I stop, I'm at a stoplight or something, I've got my little handheld and I can just, do this and I pop the top. The top kind of slides forward like almost like a cockpit of an airplane. And actually looks like an airplane. As a matter of fact, it's so slippery, that because this thing actually it has no motor, obviously, everything's pedal power, but on the ride, whenever I start, my a decline, the unique thing about the way it's shaped like a teardrop, which means it has basically 0 wind resistance. When I say 0, if the road that I'm on has a 1% decline, the bike will not slow down until I start braking, and I start braking around 50, 55 miles an hour. Miles an hour, not kilometers an hour, miles an hour. I have friends that'll start like braking around 70. And I'm like, you guys are nuts, crazy, and psycho all wrapped up into one. That's not me. I'm kind of one of those dudes. I don't like a lot of adrenaline. I got it all out of my system when I was younger. And I just like, slow and steady wins the race. And so 50, 55, I start braking. But that's what's so great about this bike is you know, it does a really good job of protecting me from the elements, including wind, which you guys know if you see the path, you understand how wind goes. Once I start going east, it's almost basically a straight headwind on me the whole time. And the first year I did this ride, I did it in an open air recumbent trike. So think of this as a closed recumbent trike. The other one was open air. I was basically a brick on 3 wheels, and I had a canopy on top to kind of shade me. That just turned into a kite. It was horrible. And so, but I learned a lot that first year. And I'm really excited about this year because we get to basically divide and conquer. And as I was telling you before, the navigator, like Rebecca, the last couple of years, she has to basically follow me. She's running the day to day of the business, which she always does anyway. And then, she's handling all of the video, the editing, the uploading, posting. She handles all the PR, getting me all my interviews. She has an amazing gift to do what she does. And so, this year we get to divide and conquer. And so Justin gets to be, my navigator, which I'm so freaking excited about. And then, so he'll be able to do all the videoing, all the editing, all the uploading, all the posting, be the navigator. And the other thing is about 3 hours into me biking, whenever I pass the navigator, they start taking my temperature and how I feel. And based on how I feel, I'll let them know, man, I don't, I know about when I'm running out of steam, and I'll let them know and they'll jump on Dirt and some other apps to find us a, 20, 30, $40 spot to hang out for the night. We're fully self-enclosed in our van. So it's not like we need power or anything like that. But we do need a decent setup, and I prefer not to be in a Lowe's, parking lot if I don't have to be. Sometimes I have to be. But the really cool thing is that, with this ride, Rebecca's going to be staying here, staying put at home base. Um, running the day to day and handling all the PR, and then just to handle everything else. And I think it's going to be absolutely smashing. And my goal is that after we get done with the ride next year, because this will be my third year, and I say this all the time, but you have to do something new 3 times to have it like 80% down. Another 3 times to have like another 10%, and you got to do it like 10 more times for like the last 10%. But when it comes to this, I have a pretty good idea of how we build it, how we flow it. We've got a great spreadsheet of all of the news and media outlets that we've connected with over the last few years, 2 years. So I think after we finish this year, I have a crazy goal where I want to start letting people do the ride with us. And so I just think there's a lot of opportunity, and there's such a horrible crime, and there's so many people that um, I feel like want an outlet for this and just don't know how. And so for me, I feel like if you know anything about me, since I was probably 30-ish years old, so almost 20 years, every day that I wake up, I have not worked for a dollar bill in almost 20 years. I wake up every day with the sole purpose of helping people suffer less. You guys know my definition of ministry. I was in ministry for 10 years. And for me, that's why I do what I do. I do this to help people. It's the only reason why I do it. And to be honest with you, I thought I was only going to do it 1 year, and then about halfway through the first bike ride, we'd already got to the Ozarks. I hadn't got to the Appalachians yet, and we're Beck and I were camped, and she was like, "You know what? I think I figured out the purpose of the ride." And I looked at her. I was like, "What?" And she goes, "It's to plan the rides." I was like, "To plan the rides? What? We got to do this again?" I was like, "You know what? I trust you, and I trust you. I trust her, and I trust him." And so for me, this has always been a trust journey. And so I kind of feel like, today being kind of coming back from a holiday, and I know I'm very structured. I've got the entire show built, but literally as soon as I went live, and then Justin and I having the issues for the first few minutes of the show, I just thought, man, let maybe we need to kind of just tweak the show a smidge today, and just kind of catch you guys up on everything that's going on, because you know what, it's probably important for you guys to know what this crazy dude's got going on too. And really, I share all this stuff to give you guys encouragement. And so, one of the things that Tactical Tuesday, and it's really about giving you guys little tips and tricks to kind of help you guys navigate this crazy world a little easier, you know. And one of the things that I wanted to share with you guys today is my journey with college. So, as many of you guys know, on last year's bike ride, about halfway through again, Rebecca and I had, because you guys know I got my pilot's license last year, and I kind of had this idea that I would be like a part-time corporate pilot while helping Rebecca run the day-to-day of the accounting firm. And I thought, and it's one of those things where a lot of people do this as a career 2.0, and as long as you're not a commercial pilot, you don't really have a retirement age. As long as you can pass your med, you can fly. And so I was like, I'm going to be a corporate pilot. I mean, I love aviation. I love flying. My parents were air traffic controllers in the Navy. I've been around planes my whole life. And so but I said, and she goes, "Yeah, but you're going to love it, but is that going to fulfill you?" And I was like, "I don't know." Because literally for almost 20 years, it's been helping people suffer less. That's fun, but I don't think I'll get that sense of satisfaction. And I happen to be talking with one of my attorneys. Her name's Peggy, and she's absolutely amazing. In my opinion, probably one of the most important, prolific First Amendment law firms in the country, New Civil Liberties Alliance out of DC. And she and I were chatting, and I was just kind of talking to her, and she was kind of telling me about why she became an attorney, and she wanted to help people, and she gets to do her dream job and all that. And I get off the phone and I go to Rebecca, and I just have this weird feeling like, am I supposed to do that? And I mean, I love legal, I love law, I love all that stuff. And so I tell her, I said, "Rebecca, I got this weird feeling, maybe I'm supposed to be an attorney, like a small business attorney." And she says, That feels right. I think that's and she goes, "And you can be a small business attorney for us," which is exactly what I'd wanna do, because all I've wanted to do for 20 years is champion those that can't champion themselves, give voice to the voiceless, and, I don't know, I just kinda felt like, and I know, I mean, my entire existence is for us mom and pop venti shop owners, and the 2 trades that screw you routinely the most, are gonna be accounting and legal, and unless you have unlimited money, you get, like, second-rate accounting and you get second-rate legal, which always screws you, and so it was like, "You know what? Maybe that's kinda the idea, is to do that," and so, but, and I had, like, 18 hours of schooling, and I'd kind of, about 7, 8 years ago, I really started studying all the different online colleges, and Western Governors University kept popping up as, very highly accredited, a great kind of go at your own pace, education system where it's competency based, meaning as soon as you know the subject, you can test out of the subject. And so, um, about 7, 8 years ago, they came up with a new degree program called healthcare administration. And I love the insurance healthcare world. I've been in it for 25 years. And so I was like, yeah, maybe like, be an executive or something like that, using the skills in some capacity there. But I was like, no, it doesn't feel right. And I didn't do it. But I went through the whole process of getting all my credits transferred in from the junior college I went to when I was younger, University of Phoenix. I had like 18 hours it transferred in. That was it. So what, 6 classes? And then so I decided that I was going to, because obviously you can't even get into law school unless you have your college degree. And so I jumped into WGU and then basically went ahead and got in. And then um, basically was like, okay, I'm going to do business management. I mean, obviously that's my baby. And um, I literally jumped in and just I started January of this year. My term is January 1 to June 30. Okay. And so I jumped in, and the first month I didn't even know what I was doing. I literally didn't know anything. And then I scheduled a call with my mentor like one time, but then she was out, or maybe it was a holiday, and I had to reschedule it again. So Western Governors University, just so you guys have a good understanding, was actually put together by 19 state governors, I don't know, 20, 25 years ago, to basically give a kind of an alternative, fully highly accredited degree program, like a normal university, 4-year college university, but for people like us, full time workers, we own our businesses, we have families, we teach, whatever it is, we coach, whatever. And so it's kind of engineered around that. And so I've always been really fascinated by it. And they also do their semesters in 6-month terms. Okay. So January 1 to June 30 is my 6-month term. And when I first set up my program, they kind of engineer it where it was like 18 hours per um, every 6 months. So it was supposed to be like 4 years in a term. It was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9. Let's see, 4 years plus a semester. So 4.5 years. So, but I ended up jumping in. First month, I didn't know anything. And then, but I also knew that my goal, if I could, was to basically have the degree by the end of the year. So I was planning on having it done by in 1 year, just get my 4-year degree in 1 year, which you can do that with WGU very, very easily. Like you can accelerate it, do a class or two a week, pretty easy once you develop your routine. And then the most important thing, stay consistent with your routine, and it will blow you away how fast you get through your classes. It's kind of daunting at first because you have so much ahead of you, but once you start building like momentum, all of a sudden you're like, "What? I'm 30% done. What? I'm 50% done. What? I'm 80% done." And so it's been really fascinating. And so I've been able to, just so you guys know, my goal is by Friday to have the rest of my classes done. Basically, my degrees there, classes done, because I was going to have to do some school while I was on the bike ride. I was like, do I want to actually be doing school in the evenings? I mean, I don't mind it, but my days are filled with biking and PR and then like resting. That tends to be like my routine when I'm on the road, recovery. And so school, I could do it easily, but I was like, I want to get it all done before I leave. And I leave Monday, June 1st. And so my idea was, maybe I can start and actually get this thing done by the time my first term is over by June 30. And that's what I was working toward. And then right around April 1st, I looked at the classes I had left and I was like, wait a minute, wait. What if I just go psycho, okay, and for the next 2 months, I just take as many classes I possibly can, as fast as I possibly can. Because the thing is as soon as you pass the exit exam, you're done with the class. Like, done. You don't have to, and it's not even like, 70, 80, 90. Oh, A plus, plus, plus. No, it's pass, move on. So, you could get exemplary on every single, like, element of the test, every piece of it, but it doesn't matter. Pass, you're done. And I was like, "You know what? Maybe I can get it done." And so, it looks like I started my very first class, the 1st of February. And fingers crossed, I'm going to have my entire 4-year degree by the end of this week, meaning all my classes, all my assignments done by the time Monday, June 1st rolls around. Even if it's midnight on the 31st, I want everything in submitted because I wanted to prove to myself and to everybody else, some 50-year-old random dude. I'm a grandpa. I'm, helping my wife. We run the business together. I'm finishing writing a book. I've got this, heart project of biking. It's like all these different things that I do. I wanted to just prove to myself and to everybody else that no, you can actually get your 4 degree really quick. You can get it done in the first term. I was able to get mine done in actually 4 of the 6 months. So I got my 4-year degree for in 4 months. All classes, my goal, all classes done by in 6 days, basically. I guess 5 days. And the way WGU does it is that WGU charges you a flat amount for 6 months, any classes, and that's $4,000. So, not exaggerating, 4-year degree in 4 months for 4 grand. If I can do it, you can do it, right? And so that's one of the things that I've got going on. The other thing is finishing up my book that I was telling you guys about before, which I want to basically have everything kind of submitted where it's all being put together. And my goal is to have everything all written. I'm just finishing up the last couple of chapters right now, meaning they're written. I'm just kind of doing my last final edits on it and have everything submitted and basically, listed for sale on Amazon here in the next week or two. So I've got all of these high level projects that I'm trying to basically wrap up before the bike ride starts. Once that starts, oh my word, we just go 100 miles an hour. So um, that's kind of what's going on with me this particular week. I thought it's kind of important to kind of share. I know most people that don't show up for this show even care about that. They want to hear about this day in history. They want to hear about juicy news. They want to hear about the reframe. What lesson are we doing today? People come here to learn, but at the same time, I want to, with my experience, I hope that I'm helping you guys through this process. And also the same thing with business. You guys know I started my first business at 13, my first 7-figure business at 21, my first 8-figure business at 28. I've started 14 companies that I turned into 7, 8-figure businesses from an idea. And so I just like to share and be as helpful and as useful as I possibly can to every single human being that I interact with. You'll see it's kind of one of my mantras. If we interact, you're going to leave feeling better than when we first started talking. I just try really hard to kind of help lighten the load on people's shoulders. And so this is kind of a piece of that. And so even though we're not talking about juicy news and that type of stuff, everything that I'm wanting to kind of share with you guys, I'm hoping is giving you guys a little bit of knowledge. And you guys know this is kind of a fairly new show for me. And so anything that we do, your support is everything to me. Every new subscriber that I get, everything. And I'm starting from the ground up. I'm 60 episodes in. There's been a couple times I got COVID and I was out for like 3 weeks, which basically started the algorithm over. And so I've had so many challenges through this whole process, but I do this show for us. I do it for me. I do it for you, mom and pop venti shops, because in my opinion, we're the hardest working individuals on the planet, and we're the most underappreciated, the most underpaid, the worst shape, physically, financially. Like we just we just spend so much of our time taking care of other people and trying to birth and grow this business that we feel is like our it's like our job to bring this thing to the universe. And so this show is like a 1 hour church service for us. It's supposed to inspire, to encourage. You're going to laugh, you're going to learn, and then here's the thing. If you guys don't mind, if you guys can laugh, subscribe, and maybe drop a couple comments in, that just means everything, man. The algorithm loves it. Let's the algorithm know, hey, this dude actually has something to say, and I kind of like what he has to say. So anyway, if you guys can support the channel, that is amazing. You guys will start seeing next week. We'll be doing it daily, but we're going to be on the road, and sometimes you'll see the backdrop will be woods. Sometimes you'll see it being a parking lot. Sometimes you'll see the backdrop is going to be a lake. It's going to be water, mountains. Bro, I am so freaking excited. I can't even wait. But you're going to love it, and I'm going to love it, and we're going to have a good time. Now, I want to kind of shift into kind of another topic that I wanted to share with you guys. And this particular topic, and again, everything that if you guys want to know who we are, what we do, how we do what we do, you want to learn about our accounting firm, whatever, you can go to accounting plus accountability. So it's accountingplusaccountability.com. And you can go and take a peek and look to see what it is we do and how we do what we do. And we're very, very unique in our approach to accounting because it's a partnership to help our business owners profit. So there's as much focus on them profiting as in documenting their prior transactions, which everybody else does. But we're business owners, and the thing is Rick and I got railroaded by a small business accountant. I don't know, almost 15 years ago, and it took me years and years and years to climb out of the hole. And I said, that's it. I'm going to build an accounting firm for me. I want to build it for us. I know what we need. And you guys know I spend half my week coaching and consulting with our owners because nobody helps us. Nobody does. That's why I love Venti Business. Venti does not mean large. Thank you, Starbucks. It means 20. So 1 to 20 employees. The brick and mortar, the mom and pops, because they're not big enough to have the discretionary resources, money and or people to spin one of the plates of business. And so they have to spend all the plates of business, which means they spend none of the plates of business. That's why a mom and pop owner is like kind of like running around with a chicken head cut off because they do it all. Unless I've got a really, really good support team of family members or people that help in their business, they can help run those plates. The owners have to do it all themselves. So we build an accounting firm for us, you know? So if you guys want to learn about what it is we do, accounting plus accountability.com. There's a little gold button up there in the header, talk with AA Ron. That's me. It links right to my schedule. We can talk any time of the day. We can talk about what anyone. Matter of fact, I'll be talking to people on the road while I'm doing the bike ride. So next week, if you guys want to jump out and hang out, you'll see, man. We'll be talking while I'm biking. I promise, man. And I got the new Samsung earbud 4s. So they're supposed to be really, really good with noise cancellation. I got them before the bike ride because it's real noisy in the bike. So I want to make sure when I'm on the phone or doing interviews or whatever that you guys can hear me totally cool. And so, but that'll be going on next week. And now let's jump into um, something I was telling Rebecca about, and it's this new way that I've been kind of engineering my days, and I wanted to share it with you guys. And I call it my EOD RMR. My EOD RMR. Okay, so you guys know I've been obsessed with Bezos for years. I swear to God, why this guy hasn't written a book, I don't understand. I know why he hasn't written a book because he's not done changing the world. So usually the guys that write that stuff are usually done with their world projects. He's not, okay? And so, but Bezos is famous. It's probably 15 years ago, the first time that I heard him speak and talk about his age 80 RMR, regret minimization rule. Meaning, by the time he's 80, he wants to look back at his life and have the least amount of regrets. And he said, the thing about regrets, it's not usually the regrets of things that we did that we regret we didn't do. Usually, at the end of our life, it's regrets of omission, things we didn't do. And so, um, which is great, but the problem is it's kind of abstract, right? It's like, okay, great, when I'm 80, so but what he didn't do is take that down from at age 80 to how does that apply today? In the last couple of weeks, I've been doing something that's been absolutely mind bending. It's been changing me from the inside out. First of all, you guys have heard that quote: "You are a reflection, not of your goals, but of your habits." Shut up, bro. You are a reflection not of your goals, but of your habits. Okay. And so I thought, how do we take this, age 80 RMR and how can we make it like today? And I thought, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wake up in the morning. And when I wake up, I'm going to, I wake up and the very first hour of the day is me time. And it's like my brain's time to go roam. And for 1 hour, that's what I do. Get a couple cups of coffee in me. It roams. And then after the hour, I'm ready to tackle the world. But after I finish that, then I start kind of planning the day. And then what I do is I immediately fast forward myself until the evening and I'm laying in bed and then I am reviewing the day. And so what I do is from my, let's say 9 p.m. like person, me at 9 p.m. of today. I've already done this today. I've already been at myself at 9 p.m. And then I evaluated when I look back at the day, everything that I got done. And then I engineer the day so that way I've got my end of day RMR, my EOD RMR. So end of day, regret minimalization rule. I look at the end of the day and I look to see, what is going to make me feel like I just had a killer, killer day. What does it look like? And I write it down. Here's the big things I've got to get done today. And then I engineer it into my calendar and schedule. And then it's crazy because then I manifest it into reality, which means my future self is connecting with my present day self. And I'm quite literally, my future self is bringing my current self to that place. It's weird, bro. And I'm telling you, man, it has been completely changing my life. And I've heard other people doing this where they get up in the morning, they envision themselves, what they do for the day, blah, blah. But and that was abstract to me. Like I couldn't connect with it, but for some reason this connects because it's me at the end of the day. It's not me 5 years from now. It's not me a year from now. It's me at the end of the day. What is going to make you have a killer day, AA Ron? And I'm like, I need to have X, Y, and Z. I'll tell you right now. Here's for me today. I'm going to just be completely honest and transparent with you guys. Today, I've got a quantitative business analysis test that I have to do today. I've got that thing scheduled for, I think, 6 o'clock tonight. And so now, luckily for me, when I'm training for my bike ride, like I've got 4 3-hour cardio sessions I have to do, which means I can study during those sessions. So the closer that I get to the bike ride, the more studying I'm actually able to do, which is great because the further you get in your degree, the classes get harder. And so I've got quantitative analysis test today. Then, but I've also got to um, do my cardio. Luckily, I can do both of those at the same time. I did interviews, a lot of interviews last week. And so I've got to put all of those individuals together, their transcripts and all that stuff, and get it packaged together for the team because I have to reach out to everybody today. Uh, I am about a week behind on editing my YouTube videos and posting on X, my scheduling all my posts that has to be done today. And then I've got to pick up a couple things. I got to pick up the new Fathead sticker that goes on the side of the bike. I got to go pick up some shirts, and that is a perfectly engineered day for me. If I can do all of that, mind you, I've got a handful of things that are scheduled around that. I've got a meeting at the office at 9:30. This is stuff that has to be done around what I already have on my calendar. If I get this stuff done, at the end of the day, it's going to be a killer day for me. A killer day for me. And so, but I just want to encourage you guys, try it. Let me know in the comments, man. If that helps you, I don't know why, but it sets my entire day. So, and I was telling Rebecca about this yesterday, and she goes, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna start doing that too." Rebecca is very very high capacity as well, and so she's literally my favorite person to hang out with. Him. Well, first of all, we've been together for 30 years, but um, I'm a very, very weird kind of eclectic dude, and so she like gels really well with me. And so she's my very, very favorite person to hang out with. And so I just wanted to kind of share this with you guys because She was like, "This is actually kind of really kind of a game changer. I'm gonna start doing it myself." And I thought, you know what? Let's just share it. And so literally today, I'd built what we're going to talk about. I'd built this great business that you could start in 90 days. And I thought, wait a minute, Tactical Tuesday is also about being more tactical with your day-to-day life. So a couple weeks ago, we did an SOP on taking 40 hours of HR work and doing it in 4 hours. And so I thought it was important to share with you guys my EOD RMR, my end of day regret minimalization rule. So I could look back and hopefully this kind of means something to you guys. I mean, it actually was really powerful for me. And then look, why don't we just do this? Why don't we just finish up with an amazing reframe from Scott Adams? You guys know every day we do the show, we do an episode or something, a chapter from Scott Adams' book. You know, he passed away January 13th of this year. I look because underneath that, his coffee cup, which is right here. See if you guys can see that. My boy. That's his coffee cup. And underneath there's a napkin. And on the napkin is the day that he passed away. And he wrote this book and it was published last year before he passed away. And so every day I just go in here and pick something from his book and I just read about it. And you know what? I've never done this reframe ever. Never. And for you guys that are writers, or you guys have to constantly publish content. I just opened it up. I just opened this up and we're going to share it today. And so go pick up Scott Adams' book, How to Reframe Your Brain. I lovingly call him my pops number 3. I also say that 100 years from now, we'll look back and say that he was our modern day oracle. How is it that the creator of a freaking cartoon Dilbert comic strip can be so insightful? But look at Matt Groening from The Simpsons, bro. Like these individuals that can stay relevant for decades are not normal. Their intelligence is off the charts and they hide and masquerade behind simplicity, but it's actually the simplicity that should signal it. The simplicity signals to the geniusness of the simplicity. A perfect example is one of the greatest physicists ever. His name is Brian Cox. Go watch this dude anywhere. And first of all, he's got the greatest haircut. And he's like, and he talks real soft. He's got this like Beatles type of vibe haircut. But he can literally he makes string theory simple. That is a genius. Okay. Genius. I just open it up. You can't see it right here. Right there. Writer's block. My job these days involves writing at least one commercial grade comic strip per day. He actually wrote 2 or 3 per day for years. Writing several pages for a book per day and creating a live one-person show on the internet every day. This show is in memory of him. If you go back and look at his other shows, it's set up just like this, where it's his office and he's just hanging out with you guys. And I really wanted to kind of pay tribute and in honor of him for this show. I started this show like a week or 2 before he passed away. But when they sent him home from the hospital, I knew he was on hospice and they were just getting uncomfortable. And so, but here he goes. Sometimes I film a micro lesson on some topic of interest for my local subscribers. That's a lot of creating. I can do all of that because I don't have the thing you might call writer's block. But to be clear, I didn't overcome writer's block. I reframed it out of my existence. My reframes for writers will not turn an uncreative person into a creative one. But I can unleash whatever creative potential you have with a few reframes that have benefited my career. Here's the first one. Normal frame, the normal way you look at something. I can't think of anything to write. The new frame, the new way of looking at it, the reframe. I'm in the wrong environment for writing. Oh, shoot. I honestly, bro, Scott, I think had ADD before anybody knew what ADD was, and he's insanely self-aware. He said, if I were sitting on my couch trying to write this chapter, I'd be shooting blanks. My cute dog would be pestering me, my refrigerator would be whistling my name, and I could usually depend on some major electrical, plumbing, or other disaster to pop up when I am within same zip code as my house. If I were less experienced as a writer, I would be cursing my writer's block. But it wouldn't be writer's block at all. It would be a case of the wrong setting. I am now writing as quickly as I can type while sitting in the snack bar of my health club. I'm surrounded by noisy toddlers. He's got freaking ADD, bro. That is the telltale sign of it. And his other favorite place was writing in Starbucks. ADD. I get it 100%. I know exactly why. I'm gonna tell you in just 2 seconds. Surrounded by noisy toddlers, chatty diners, a TV, every manner of gym noise and distraction, also known as perfect for writing. Weird, right? Seems the opposite of common sense, but science and experience confirm that the best environments for writing are where you can actively ignore the people around you. Holy shit. That's why. Because you can actively ignore the surroundings, which forces you to focus. No freaking way, dude. Later today, I'll go to Starbucks because it is busy and noisy. I will choose the busiest and noisiest Starbucks location from a choice of four near my home. The writing will come easily, even with decaf. I once wrote an entire book in a restaurant booth during the busy meal periods. He said I owned the restaurant, so they couldn't kick me out. Not only was it easy to write the book, but it was also enjoyable. The environment was so perfect for writing, work became play. I can't guarantee that writing in my public places will be better for everyone, but I strongly recommend experimenting to see if it works for you. If not, keep searching until you find a physical environment that does work for you. In a similar vein, you can also need to find the time of day when your brain is naturally creative. For me, that time is between 4 and 10 a.m. Me, exactly, which is not unusual for writers. We tend to write best after midnight and before noon. Earlier in the book, I discussed the reframe of managing your energy, not your time. Writing is the best use of that reframe. If you're trying to write when your energy is not matched to the task, you're begging for writer's block. So here it is. Here's a reframe. I have writer's block. I'm trying to write at the same. So reframe number two. I'm trying to write at the same time of the day. Holy crap, dude. That this just speaks to me in so many different levels because I'm that guy. I create a lot. I write a lot. I um create constantly. So this show, putting together the show, that part of my brain. So when I started to do the schooling, I'm normally up at 4 and I just kind of bumped up the time that I would get up like an hour earlier. I think I know my normal time to get up was like 4:30. And so I would start getting up at 3 to give me that extra hour and a half to do schoolwork because my brain is electric in the morning. Like it's on fire. But by 2 or 3 in the afternoon, bro, I've got to be doing like low brain frequency tasks, like almost like the equivalent of coloring. So, yes, a little bit of brain power, but almost no brain power. So, in the morning, I'm like writing thesis papers. In the afternoon, I'm coloring. That's the mental output that I'm using. And you hear me say it constantly all the time, and you'll hear me say it. If you grab a hold of this one little phrase, this one little reframe, it will unequivocally change your life no matter who you are listening to this. But you have to understand what I'm saying. And here it is. Routine is the key. Consistency sets you free. Routine is the key. Consistency sets you free. And so Justin was like, hey, I'm the same way when writing music. That's exactly right. Build the routine. Bro, my routine is so freaking set. And that's what's funny when I don't literally go out past like 8 o'clock at night. And all my friends know. And if we do go out, they're like, bro, Novinger's got to go, man. You know how it's 8 o'clock. If I'm hanging out at your house by 7:30, 8 o'clock the latest, I'm like, whew, would you look at the time? And by the way, I'm not even wearing a watch. I'm like, would you look at the time? This dude's got to roll. And everybody knows my pumpkin turns by 9 p.m. Okay. And so, but bro, it's set. And I am so addicted. That's the thing. Start engineering and testing these different things out yourself because I'm telling you something. And then you start building a routine around it. And the thing is the more you do this, the more you want to do it. So the more you write, the more you want to write. The more I exercise, the more I want to exercise. It's just the way it is. These are laws of physics. Objects in motion tend to stay in motion. Objects at rest tend to stay at rest unless acted upon by an outside force. It's the same thing here. So momentum builds upon momentum. Energy attracts energy. It's just the way it works. So for me, I've engineered like this perfect day for me where my life is like, yes, I do hard things all day long. I'm stressed all day long. But to be honest with you, I feel like I'm the luckiest human being alive. Like I get to wake up and I've engineered my entire day, my whole life. I've engineered it. And like I get to work with the greatest people alive. I get to hang out with the greatest clients alive. We get to do really, really important stuff and make a big difference. And then I get to hang out with you guys and I get to be creative, which is a big piece of who I am. But I had to engineer how to get it all done in one day. But if you do the same thing, trust me, God's no respecter of persons. If you have the same drive and grit, the same disciplines, the same talents and gifts, and you duplicate the same consistency of the discipline, then you'll have the same results. It's just the way it's wired. It's just the way it is, bro. Okay. Stop thinking that you have limitations. You do not have a glass ceiling. This is Willy Wonka, bro. Your elevator can bust that glass ceiling. Okay. But if as soon as I say what I told you, and you're like, can't do it, you just put a glass ceiling on yourself. And that means you're afraid of something. And if you're, as long as you're self aware, you can ask yourself, why am I saying no to that? What am I afraid of? You got to have those difficult conversations with yourself. You must, or you'll be a slave to this planet. You'll see all these people around you succeeding and you don't know why they're succeeding. It's not difficult, man. They have engineered everything in their life, and you basically just think you're a victim and you are, everybody else is driving the car and you jump in the back seat and you're a passenger of the car and you let everything else in your life dictate where that car goes. That's the difference. But you got to be self aware. You got to be self aware. Man, I hope that today's show, even though it was nothing like the way we always do our shows, I felt like we just needed to kind of tweak it up and change it up a little bit. And I thought it was kind of important to kind of do it a little different, man. I don't know. It was just the way it started, trying to get the internet all figured out and all that stuff. And I just kind of figured out we've got this thing dialed in now, man. We've got it dialed in. So, what did you guys think, man? There was a lot of things we talked about today that will take you some time to unpack, you know. But look, what did you guys think of Tactical Tuesday? I know it was a little out of the norm. What'd you think? Did you dig it? Let me know in the comments, by the way. You guys know it's a new show. I do this show for us, Mom and Pop Venti Shops. So please like and subscribe. That means everything to me and to the show and to the channel and to the algorithm. Let them know, hey, yes, he is kind of talking crazy, but you know what? He helps me suffer less. And that's why we do this show. It's to help you, Mom and Pop Venti Shop owners, suffer less, right? What'd you guys think? Awesome. Everything we talk about here, you guys know. If you think that it's hard or you think it's easy, you're right. You spend every waking second working in your business, but guys, you've got to spend time working on your business, making sure you mind your own business. All right, my business builders, you guys got the news, the tips and tricks. Now it's time to go own this day. My name is Aaron Novinger, and you guys know what time it is. It's time to get to work.